Hey guys, I'm Sumit and this is Geekata. I came to know about Arcane when a bunch of channels on my YouTube feed were doing reactions on it. I watched some clips of it, I watched the trailer, and I was intrigued by the animation style. Despite the fact that it is based on a game I have never played or have any knowledge of, I decided to give it a watch. And I am so happy that I made the decision of watching it. This will be my non-spoiler review of Arcane, where I will talk about the things I liked about it, the things I didn't, and you can watch this video and decide for yourself whether it is something you will be interested in watching or not. Arcane is a high fantasy and action animated show based on the super famous game League of Legends. What they have done is they have taken a small part of the game's lore, picked a handful of characters, and then woven a backstory for them. So even if you have no information about the game, you can still absolutely enjoy this series just like I did. The plot follows two sisters, Vi and Jinx, living in this fictional world of Piltover and Zaun, where Piltover is like the rich, technologically advanced side of the realm, whereas Zaun or Undercity is the poor, rotten and backward underworld where people are suffering. The show has these amazing characters from both sides of the world who play part in the politics, the power struggle, while also having deeply rich and emotional personal arcs. If I had to summarize my reaction after watching Arcane in 4 words, I would say I'm blown away. If I had to describe it in 5 words, I would say I'm completely blown away. Arcane is amazing. The animation used in this show is the pinnacle of what animations can do in a feature. For me, this is the best looking animated feature of all time, show or movie. Only thing that comes close to it in recent popular culture might be Into the Spider-Verse, but I think Arcane has surpassed that too. I feel in the future this show will be seen as a benchmark for all animated properties, wherein they will look at it as a target when it comes to having an impact on the genre. I've heard that this show was in development for 6 years and it had a budget of $80 to $100 million. I don't know if these are the correct figures or not, but if it's true, then that means they spent close to $10 million on each episode of Arcane. That is a shitload of money, and honestly it shows. This show is gorgeous. You just can't keep your eyes away from the screen when this show is on. They have used this hand-drawn, hand-painted style which falls somewhat in between 2D and 3D. They have found a very fine blend between realistic and cartoon, and man, it looks so good. Honestly, I haven't seen anything like this before. They make use of such great transitions between the scenes. Each movement of the characters, each little eye motion, each face expression is so authentic and so crisp that it blows me away. All of this is supported by some impeccable direction done for the show. The action is fluid and amazingly realistic. It has so many scenes that I am sure I will go back to just to experience them again. Like there is this fight scene in episode 7 between Jinx and another character whose name I can't say because it's kind of a spoiler. This scene is so good that I've gone back and rewatched it 5 to 7 times in the past 2 days. It is so fluent and they change animation styles in between the scene. The clever use of fast and slow motion and the great background music makes this scene thoroughly memorable and rewatchable. And this show is filled with many such scenes. The music used in the show is also one of its great strengths. They have achieved a great integration between the music and the animation, and nowhere in the show I felt the music was unnecessary, weak or too overpowering. It always enhanced the viewing experience and is an integral part of the show. I loved the intro song Enemy by Imagine Dragons and JD, and there was not one single episode where I skipped the intro. I watched it every single time. Talking about the plot and characters, I thought the characters were written beautifully. Whether you talk about the main characters or the many side characters, everyone had a great role and an important purpose in the story. There was not a single character who bored me or whose arc took me out of the show, although I liked some characters' arcs better than others. They have written the show in a manner where each episode increases the depth of all characters and complements what we know about them from the previous episodes. I'll give you an example. In the first 3 episodes, I thought the character of Powder or Jinx was acting weirdly, and at places I thought it was too over the top. But when you go further in the story and you are introduced with the elder version of Jinx, you see why it felt like that and what actually was going on with the character. Now when I will go back to those initial episodes, I will appreciate it more and get the character struggle more, since I now have the hindsight on what happens next. This makes the show extremely rewatchable. The characters grow and change in gradual, understandable manners. There are no abrupt, unrealistic changes in the character's personality or nature, as often seen in such shows where writers write themselves into a corner and then make poor character choices just to get themselves out of the situation. Here, the characters' journeys are emotional, heartfelt, and understandable. They move the plot along in an organic way, and we as an audience are fully invested in the characters' arcs. There is this character of Victor who is a cripple with a good heart. He starts off as kind of a side character that you feel can't be that important to the story, but gradually he is given such an emotionally rich and earnest story which quickly became one of my favorite ones in the show. When his story is moving forward, you get the feeling that you are maybe watching a villain origin story, but the showrunners take us on a different path which is much more realistic to the character and the world around him. They also use callbacks to previous scenes wonderfully. Like this scene where Victor as a kid is trying to chase a toy boat and failing at it because of his condition. They call back this scene with a scene of older Victor running, and in the scene we see an actual ship in the background and Victor eventually outruns it. I love that scene, and the show is just filled with so many such scenes that give you so many goosebumps. By the way guys, if you have seen Arcane, do let me know in the comments below who was your favorite character in the show. Another win for the show is its main villain Silco, which I thought was written flawlessly. He had a great backstory, a very believable motivation, and very human reactions. He was evil, too evil at times, but there was clear understanding that in his head whatever he was doing for the good of the world he knew. He was committing evil acts, killing people, destroying lives, but in his head he was doing it for the greater good. And he showed core values of loyalty and love towards some characters, which he fulfilled and cared for in his own ways. This all made him a great villain for this show. All these characters' writing was supported fully by some really good voice acting done by all the voice actors. In particular, I thought the voice actors of both elder and younger version of Jinx were amazing. The world building in the show is spectacular, and now I want to see many more stories based on these characters. I may even start playing this game just to get more of this world. If I go nitpicking, I would say there were a few elements in the story which were not explained as properly as I would have liked. There are these gemstones which are like half science, half magic, and they are used to form hex tech and hex cores, which are important plot devices, but I didn't fully get why and how they actually worked. Victor and his antics with the hex core make for some great scenes, but it was not really clear to me what he was trying to do with it or how that core actually worked. But this plot issue is so minor that it gets completely overshadowed by all the great things that are going on in the show. The ending of the show also was truly epic and emotional. The only thing bad about it was that it left us on a heart-stopping cliffhanger, and it is frustrating that we have to wait an year at least to find out what happens next. I just want to see many more epic stories from this world and explore these characters more. Arcane is pretty dark, and the way season 1 ends with that cliffhanger, if what they teased at the end of the season actually happens, season 2 is going to be much more darker, and I am so ready for it. I just hope that the showrunners are able to give the same amount of care and love to season 2 just like they did for season 1. So the question, is Arcane my favorite animated show of all time? It's pretty hard to say since it hasn't been with me for that long. I have just watched it a couple of days ago and I still need to sit with it for a bit more time to be able to answer that question. The animated shows that I deem the highest have been my childhood and early teen memories like Batman, X-Men, Dragon Ball Z, and they have earned a special place in my heart because of the time that they have been with me. But Arcane with only one viewing has gotten so close to them that it's actually unbelievable. It easily cracks my top 10 and maybe even my top 5. And maybe with time, with its new seasons and expanding story, it can crack the top if it keeps up with the season 1 quality. So as my final verdict, I say Arcane is a masterpiece. It's a pinnacle of all animated features that have come out in the recent years. It has groundbreaking animation style and an epic story which is highly fantastical but more importantly very relatable. I'm going to give Arcane a perfect 6 out of 6. This show has given me immense joy. It is probably my favorite show of 2021 and I haven't stopped thinking about it since I've finished it. I just can't wait to watch it over and over again till season 2 drops. I say this very adamantly and I can't stress it enough. You need to watch this show. You just can't miss it. Even if you think it's not your style, it's not your favorite genre, just give it a try. And I'm sure you will find something from it that you will appreciate for a long time. So guys, that was it for today. Let me know about your views on Arcane in the comments below. If you liked my review, do strike that like and consider to subscribe. Take care of yourselves. I will see you in the next one. Till then, bye bye.